Hey everybody, Brian from Bear Bull Traders here. It is January 4th, and once again, Happy New Year to everybody. If you didn't happen to catch my video on New Year's Day. This, of course, this is the weekend video. We'll go over some trades we did last week in the market, and then we'll look ahead and see what setups might be happening here in the coming first full week of the new year. So let's get down to it. So as always, let's do a quick review of what happened last week. There was really no economic or earnings to move the markets again this week. Volumes were a little lower. Obviously, people still on holidays, 4 days of trading. But everyone was anticipating the Santa Claus rally, which usually happens between Christmas and New Year's, and really investors chose to hit the sell button instead of buying in earnest. So most of the indexes ended up slightly down during this shortened trading week. You can see they're all down about 0.5 to 0.75%, except for the IWM, which has really been taking a beating over the last week or so, and it managed to put in a bit of a gain here. So energy and utilities, I mentioned energy when I was going over the sectors a couple days ago. Energy is looking pretty good here on the week. Consumer discretionary and materials were the worst performing sectors, and 2-year and 10-year treasuries, they were down just a fraction, but still well above this 4.5% level, which is sort of a psychological level. So kind of just hanging around here, waiting to see what the new administration's policies are going to be. But there is definitely some premium in there on anticipation of inflation in the coming years. US dollar up slightly on the week. I think the euro is really still struggling here. And Bitcoin found a way to rebound a little bit here, back up above 98,000 after going below 95. And that was your week in review. And before we go on and take a look at a few charts, this is the time where we take a break to do a little plug for my books on Amazon. How to swing trade and profiting as an active trader. Some of this stuff I talk here about today is a lot of swing trading, but I've also been using options in my swing trading as well. So if you're wanting to learn about options and how I use those, both day trading and swing trading, you can check out the options book as well. So let's move on and look at some charts here. So we'll look at some charts here, and you can see this is the TLT, price of the long-term bonds. You can see here price has been going down significantly. Now we're sort of consolidating in a range here. The market seems to be comfortable in this 4.5, 4.6 area right now. And really I think the big question is going to be on tariffs. If you see the administration come in strong with the tariffs, you're going to see this easily. The TLT, the price of the bonds, will significantly drop again. You'll probably see yields on the longer term bonds going up to retest 5%. But if you sort of slow walk these tariffs, we may end up getting a rally back on the TLT, bond prices going up, yields dropping. So I think we probably are going to stay in this range until we get more clarity on that. The dollar is really sold off here hard, and now it's coming back up a little bit. Seems to be trading, of course, with the price of the bonds. The Qs, again, possible double bottom here. I mentioned this on Wednesday when I did the YouTube video. I said look for a possibility that we could be putting in a bottom here. There's a previous low and another previous low, and it looks like we've come back up. So I'd look for a bit of a continuation move. I don't think we're going to get a huge rally, but maybe continuation back, sort of reversion to the midline or the mean. And same with the SPY. I don't want to belabor that. But again, all these double bottoms and pretending maybe we might get a rally back. And the Dow, of course, taking more of a hit than the SPY and the Qs. And same with the IWM, taking more of a hit over the last couple weeks. But again, seems to be finding a bit of a bottom here, and we may get a bit of a rally back next week. So that could be interesting. And Bitcoin just sort of hanging around here. You can kind of see we're consolidating in this 100 thousand to 93,000 range here, so we're keeping an eye on that. But again, we're just range bound for the time, and that's where we are with the indexes. So let's take a look at some of the stocks that have traded this week, and a lot of these come from my watch list. So potentials that'll be coming up after this section. But Ionic was one I had on my watch list, and on this pullback here, got back involved after this sell-off, and took a lot of it off on Friday, but I'm looking for a continuation move higher on the rest. So Ionic looking good. If you were in our trading room on Friday afternoon, you would have known I have taken a AMD trade. I'm actually using options on this trade, and I've got some 125s that expire end of next week. But that was sort of talked about in the trading room. And again, this was something I had on my watch list, my previous week's watch list. And you can see here, we've kind of put in, and the reason I had it watching it, because it looks like we put in a higher low here. Here's your low, here's your higher low. So interested in that one. Again, KMI, which is something I was in from my watch list a couple weeks ago here, back in this area, looking for a bounce back, and it's come back. It's come up really nicely here, and that's sort of a natural gas play. Speaking of natural gas, this was one I did on, I guess, early in the week. Monday, we had a huge pop-up on this earnings, or not a report of expected colder weather on the East Coast. Natural gas really popped up here. I think there was a lot of people caught short. We ended up selling off on the day, so I went short at the end of the day here and covered it on the following day, and it looked like it even, I could have held it longer, but I just didn't want to see it come back up here. So I was very happy with that overnight swing trade on UNG. Adobe's not looking very good here. This is a trade I took back here, so I'm underwater on it. It did come up off the low of the day, so this low, if it gets violated there, I will have to take a loss on that trade. AVGO, I took some off, but still holding a little bit. Not really liking the price action on that, so I'm going to be watching that. BA, I have been in it here since this breakout, and I was looking at 180, so I did take some off there at just under 180 because it looked like it was getting ready to sell off. And then there's some Chinese announcement about sort of boycotting or doing something with Boeing, retaliation for something the U.S. is doing. And you can see I sort of avoided getting really caught in that downdraft. And TD I'm still holding on to, but it looks kind of promising here. It's right at an area where there should be some resistance, but we're breaking through some moving averages. I'm selling calls, upside calls, to collect premium while I'm in this position. Unfortunately, I'm in it from back here, but I just keep selling calls and collecting premium, and you can read about that in my options book. So that's where we are with current positions and some trades we did last week, swing trades. All right, so potentials and the stocks I'm watching for next week, in particular, Tesla. Tesla really sold off on some delivery numbers that was announced Friday morning. You can see the stock really, or Thursday morning, the stock really gapped down on sort of a bit of a shortfall. Didn't meet expectations, but you can see here Friday we just rallied back, right back through this prior low here. And I'd be watching Tesla at this level, this sort of 420 level, 418 for some resistance, and then if it gets through there, could even be up to 430. So just something to keep an eye on, some levels for Tesla for next week. I think a low has definitely been put in here, so potential to even sell some 380 puts, and then maybe buy some 360s below it to limit your risk. Another option strategy you can read about in my book. So I think Tesla has definitely found a support level there for next week. X is one that it's kind of interesting to me. You see here, we had the news that President Biden blocked the Nippon Steel takeover of U.S. Steel. And you can see we dropped down here, but on a fundamental basis, and you've still got Cleveland Cliffs, which is kind of in the background there. That's a possible purchaser as well. So you can kind of see here we're down to an area where there has been prior support. So I'm going to seriously look at this for a trade on Monday morning, potential long on that one. AVPI, kind of like this one. Let's see if it had a bit of a double top here. It's dropped right down to an area where you would have expected some support, an area where it broke out from back here. And now it looks like it's moving back up through these moving averages. So could be a nice rally sort of back up to this just under $18 and maybe back to 19. And last but not least, quantum. This is quantum computing ETF. Yes, there is an ETF for quantum computing, and that's it. So it looks like it might be going back to this previous high and possibly even higher. You can see a lot of volume in this range. So if we can break out, we might have a good opportunity to get a nice run back up to over 90 again. And you can see here volume building over the last couple days. So that is another one to watch for next week. And as well as the various indexes, whether it's SPX or Dow or the Qs, look for a bit of a rally back there. All right, let's wrap things up here. Week of January 6th. Here's your levels on the Dow, Q, SPY, IWM. We had some pretty positive finish to the day on Friday, so maybe looking forward to a little bit more of a rally. Usually beginning of the year, we see a bit of a rally, some money going into the markets from 401ks, etc. So that could be a bit of a catalyst. The overhang, of course, will be what the policies of the new administration will be. So it might keep things a little muted there until we get more clarity on that. Here's your economic events. We do have some employment reports and unemployment reports coming up. This will be the big movers, I think, for the markets. And of course, the FOMC December minutes will be coming out at 2 o'clock on Wednesday. So something to keep an eye on there around that time. And as far as earnings go, well, we're coming up to earnings season. You can always tell when we get Delta Airlines and Jeffries. So next week, not a lot in the way of earnings, but week after, we should start to see some earnings rolling in here. So that's it, everybody. We'll see you hopefully Monday morning. We'll start the pre-market show. And of course, we're live on YouTube at 8:30. Pre-market show for members starts at 8 o'clock with Jared's Engineering the Markets. And so we'll look forward to seeing you there. Have a great rest of your weekend, everyone. We'll see you Monday morning, hopefully. Bye for now.